Hello Aquarius, great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Aquarius. Hello there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading. And this reading is going to span 2 weeks, okay? Next week, I am not going to be able to get the readings out. I'm going to be swamped with a lot of things. So I just want to do... So when I was shuffling the cards for you, what I saw was there's this well. And, you know, it's like one of those old school types of well with the water, like a pail that's attached to the top of the well so that people can lower the pail into the water and draw water. And I hear a voice coming from the bottom of the well, and it's like, help me, I'm stuck. And then I see a woman walking over it. So I don't know if you're the one stuck in the water or the woman. And then she was like, who's down there? And the person in the well says, just help me get out of here. And so you lower the bucket, and the other person, it's not seen, but I'm assuming the other person climbs into the bucket, and then it takes a lot of work, right? Because there is water, there's just the weight of it, and then you kind of turn the lever to pull up the strings or the cords, and then, the person finally emerges from the well. And she's shaking, she's frozen, she's all wet, and she comes out of the pail of water, and then she lands onto, solid ground. And then you look at her, and she looks exactly like you. It was kind of creepy. So she looks exactly like you. And the image just stops. It was just like a dead stop. And so when I saw that, I saw 2 messages. The first one is that I don't know in what capacity you guys are working, but I feel almost like for many of you, you're in a position where you are dealing with a lot of crises. You're dealing with either people who are in distress, you're dealing with like a very kinetic type of a work environment where you're helping people. You might be, a light worker, honestly. Mainly because I feel like you're dealing with a lot of people's problems. You're getting people out of some really deep, dark situations. And I feel like it's physically very, very taxing on your body. Okay. And I feel in a way too, you guys are not emotional people in general, but I also feel it is taxing for you emotionally and also spiritually. And so this emergence coming out of this dark well into the light indicates to me a need to kind of purge yourself of whatever it is that you're dealing with. So leave your work at work. When you come home, you should be able to come home to a clean slate, okay? Don't bring that baggage with you home. So that's what I'm feeling. Some of you, for example, could be social workers. Some of you could be therapists. Some of you could be healers. Some of you could be doctors or nurses. And you see a lot of trauma. And I feel like, it's not the flesh wounds that really gets to you. It's more the emotional trauma that you see people go through. And especially people who are very, very stuck in their predicament. It makes you feel very sad. And I feel like, it stays with you, like that type of other people's trauma. It leaves an imprint, and it stays with you because they're screaming out for help, and they need help. They need guidance. They need somebody to come and save them. And, it really speaks to your core. And so you find yourself inadvertently coming to their rescue. And you kind of need to start drawing boundaries, I'm sensing. Or you can help, but, don't let it affect you. And you also need to understand as well that people have to, it's almost like if we keep helping others, it enables that pattern of behavior and that pattern of dependency. And so help those that are willing to help themselves, help those that are willing to make changes in their lives, okay? So that's the first message. The second message that I got out of this is that you've been stuck in a very cold, watery, and water is just not your element. You've been out of your element for a very long time. And I feel like it's time the universe tells you to come into the light. And a lot of the times, for example, I feel like some of you might have dealt with some breakup, some major disappointment. And you might feel like, and not to be sexist or anything, but the image that I got was, it feels like, I'm looking for a savior. I'm looking for my knight in shining armor. So if you have recently broken up, or if you've dealt with like emotionally, just you're hoping for some type of an external change or an external person to come in and kind of rescue you from this watery grave. But the message that I got, and the fact that the person in the water or in the well looks exactly like the person on land, it just feels to me like you're your own savior. You are going to have to get yourself out of this situation. And don't look to other people to save us from our predicament. We have to be the one to realize, you know what, enough's enough. I'm not going to stay in this. I'm not going to dwell on this. I'm not going to sulk. I'm going to empower myself by getting myself out of this situation. Okay? So those are the two messages that came through with that image. And with this spread, what really struck me was you definitely have two options when it comes to lovers here. So I have you in the middle, Queen of Swords. This is your energy. This is somebody who's very intelligent. I feel like very established in your career as well. You're at a point where you know what you're doing. You are able to take care of yourself. You're self-sufficient. You don't really need another person. And on either side of you are these two kings. The first one is the King of Cups. So this is a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. The second one here is the King of Swords. And this is a very strange depiction of the King of Swords. I don't think of the King of Swords with this energy. He almost feels like the King of Wands. He's very alpha, takes up a lot of space. Possibly dresses very well, okay? So Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. So you're in the middle, wedged between these two people, and it's almost like, who do I pick? Who is right for me? Do I want either of them, or do I want none of them? So I feel like you're in a position that is very empowering. You get to choose. You get to decide. And so this is a really good space to be, when we are the one actively and proactively making decisions that affect our lives, rather than just going along with the ride. So I feel like you're in a really, really good position. And when I saw these cards, what I felt was the King of Cups, the water sign. It seems like they really want to build with you, okay? This is somebody who's very emotionally intelligent. Okay, and when I say that, it's almost like a lot of the times I mention, people have a really hard time reading Aquarius, understanding Aquarius people, understanding what you like, what you don't like, understanding your emotional needs. This water sign understands your emotional needs. They know what you need, and even like they can read you like almost like an open book. No one can understand us 100%, but this is somebody who makes themselves emotionally available to you. and they really care very, very deeply about you. And this is somebody who is really strong. It's almost like they've been through a lot in their lives, and they've been through a lot of emotionally trying situation. Hence, they have matured and they've become the king, where they are very, very, very much in touch and in control of their emotions. So it's somebody that has emotional strength, emotional intelligence, and I feel like they know what they want, okay? And this is a person that wants to build with you. They either want to have a family with you, they want to, build a future with you, they want to um, build a life with you. For whatever reason, you have released this person. You have, released the situation, mainly because I feel like there might be communication issues between the two of you. I also feel like the relationship feels a little bit distant. So even though it's a water sign, I feel almost like, because it's not your element, you feel a little bit out of your comfort zone with this. It feels like uncomfortable. It feels like, um, that person down in the well, okay? It's like, it's so emotional, it's cold, and it's wet, it's uncomfortable. Um, it's just a dark place to be. And I don't know why that is, because, the way this person shows up, they're very much in control of their emotions. But you feel like being with them feels a little bit like living in a well. It's uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable. And then there's this other person who you feel is like your perfect match. Whenever the king and the queen of the same court card or the same suit comes out, I usually think of it as the ideal match or the perfect match, okay? However, the person falls out in the reverse position. So this is somebody that could be a little bit careless when they talk. They could be a little bit hurtful. They could, jab at you, or they could aggravate a situation. It's almost like defensiveness, looking for a fight, um, somebody having trust issues, and somebody that is not 100%, I would say, honest. And I feel this element here about them being just emotionally unavailable, and they seem to me to be a little bit kind of immature. And what I'm getting here is, the communication on good days is great. On bad days, it's horrible. Whereas with this water sign, it's very consistent. It's very like, it's very stable. Whereas with this person, it's very unpredictable. But as an Aquarius, you thrive on the unpredictability of things. You like things to be a little bit exciting. You like things to be a little bit topsy-turvy. And I'm sensing that you are also realizing that about yourself. You're realizing that you're not seeking the same things, that your heart and your mind are not in the right place, or you're not seeking things or putting energy into things and people that are good for you. And so I have these two options, and I feel almost like you really, really, like they care about you. You're wedged in between these two people. They really care about you. I honestly feel like both parties want to build with you, but it's just a matter of, what are you going to choose? And what I feel though is there's this really strong pull towards the air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. And the way that I look at this is the Five of Cups in the reverse, no longer, pining after the past, ready to move ahead, ready to move on. And I also feel as well, though, there's just a little bit of difficulties, mainly because you want to make this decision. And, if the decision rests upon you, you want to make sure that you make the decision and you do it right. So there's a lot riding on this decision. Okay, so that's what I'm getting here, and I honestly want to urge you to really think about: do I even need to choose either one of them? Because the Queen of Swords, she's self-sufficient. She doesn't really need other people. So do you really need to choose either one? Or can you just move ahead and not choose anybody and just find a third person? I feel, honestly, I don't see infidelity. I don't see cheating. I don't see things that are worrisome to me. I just feel like you're in control of this situation and you can do as you wish. And I'm drawn to this. She's holding a butterfly. She has a sword in one hand, but she's holding a butterfly in a very delicate, gentle way in the other. You are capable of very, very immense tenderness, but you're also very, very capable of immense, like, you know, hurting people with your swords. Okay, so which side are you going to choose as well? Do you want that delicate side, that gentle side? Or do you want to be a little bit more on the ice, the ice queen, the more cutthroat, the more abrasive energy? So you have the potential within you, and you also want to moderate the way in which you feel emotions and the way in which you do things as well. This butterfly, it feels to me as if, if it's meant for you, it will return back to you. You don't have to hold it so tightly in the palm of your hand. And I'm also led to believe as well, this might not be a decision that you have to make right now. There's nothing in here that dictates that time is running out, the clock is ticking. You don't need to make this decision. So let it sit. If it's meant to be, it will still come back around. Okay? Butterflies are fickle as well. So you might be dealing with someone who's a little bit fickle when it comes to their emotions, when it comes to the way they talk, when it comes to how they feel about you. It changes from one day to the next, and that might be the air sign, the Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Whereas the other person is very, very constant, and it has been very consistent. So I feel like, there's no timeline, there's no deadline, there's no due date, there's no expiration date. And so sit and mull over this decision. Okay. Um, I have here the Ace of Pentacles. So this is definitely starting a new job, starting a new journey, increasing your income capabilities. And when I see the Ace of Pentacles, this is a job offer. And I usually think of it as working for another person, like working a 9 to 5, something very stable, something very routinized, and something that is very like consistent. So you're definitely getting a job offer in the picture. You might have to change your house. You might have to, there's something here about being in a work environment that is very emotionally fulfilling. But once again, if you are finding yourself in that helping profession, learn to detach and especially learn to leave work at work and don't carry that emotional baggage home with you, okay? Learn to kind of separate your work life from your personal life, because I feel like there's a blurring of the two here. I feel like many of you are going to be, if you have already been given this job, I feel like it's wondrous, like it's magical. It's almost like, how did I get so lucky? And I'm also feeling as well this sense of, in the past, you were not fully being utilized to your full potential. You did work that was not mentally challenging, mentally stimulating. And you need to be intellectually stimulated in order for you to feel happy. With the Ace of Swords, it's almost like the work was mundane. The work was just, the work was just, it didn't feel inspiring. It didn't feel like you were in the right place. It didn't feel like you were in your element. And so moving forward, there's a job here that is going to be very emotionally rewarding, emotionally fulfilling, and I feel like there's a lot of intellectual stimulation coming through as a result of the job, okay? And hence, be careful about being a workaholic and, learn to leave work at work and learn to separate your work life from your personal life, okay? Don't bring work home with you, and, try to enjoy the time that you have free, and especially try to cultivate a social life. The cards do look a little bit solitary, so I definitely feel like you need to cultivate more of a community, a sense of community, or incorporate more people into your life, and make time for, important non-romantic relationships and things like that, okay? I'm also feeling as well the past relationship, it might not have, whoever the person is, they might not have appreciated your intelligence. So I don't know why that is. They might have done things to undermine you. The communication might not have been smooth between the two of you. But there's this element here about one person being very emotionally just your cup of tea, but intellectually they're not your cup of tea. They're not in alignment with you. They might not have the same interests, they might not have the same hobbies, you guys might not have the same conversations. When you try to align your conversations, one person likes one thing, the other person likes another, and there's disagreement. So it's almost like you feel very underappreciated when it comes to your intellectual capabilities in that relationship. Whereas the other person really appreciates you. They ask you for your opinions. They ask you for your advice. They ask you for your expertise because they trust your intelligence, and it can feel really flattering. Nothing is more flattering for an Aquarius than someone telling the Aquarius, you're really smart, or you're really intelligent, or I like the way you think, or you are a very, very ingenious thinker. Like, that's flattering for an Aquarius. Never mind you're beautiful, you're attractive, you are cute. I feel like those things, if the Aquarius person knows they're attractive, knows they're cute, they already know these things. But like, in order to get into the heart of the Aquarius person, you can say, you're really, really intelligent. I like the way you think. I like the way you problem solve. I like how creative you are with your thoughts. And I like how concise you communicate, or I like how well you communicate, or I like how articulate you are. So I feel like the other person really appreciates these qualities about you. And I feel like for you guys, physical connection, like a physical attraction, it's all nice and fun, but I don't feel like it's top priority for you guys. You want that intellectual connection. You want that, common thoughts, common sense, common goals, common ideas, common ideology, somebody with your same values. And so I feel that's why you're very torn between these two people. And energetically, it's almost like you're getting your different needs met from the different people. And that's why it's really hard to just say, one person is perfect, because they have one thing, but they might be lacking in other departments. And so you're out looking for perfection. And there's nothing wrong with that. Set your standards high. There's nothing wrong with that. And perfection exists somewhere. And you're out to find it. So I would say, do you really need to choose between these two options? Or is there a third option that is not yet revealed, that is out there, that is perfect for you? Because you're not going to settle, right? You're not going to settle for less than you feel you deserve. And if your happiness and the rest of your life and your emotional satisfaction rides on this decision, you want to choose the best. Okay, so I definitely feel like it's the month to honestly come into your own sense of self-worth, coming into your rescue, and realizing that if I'm not happy, I'm going to move myself away from it. And many of you have done that, and you are feeling very empowered where you are right now. Career is going well. You're letting go of past emotional issues. You're letting go of past people. You're letting go of past emotional baggage. And so you're really strong emotionally, mentally, and just physically. You're able to hoist yourself, your full body, the full weight of it, out of that well. And so you don't need a knight in shining armor. You don't need another person to come into your life and to assist you with things and to, advise you on what you need to do and who you should choose and what you need to, what decision you need to make. So come into your own sense of power and really stay true to yourself. It's not about, I want this person or that person. It's not so much about that. It's just more about, I know myself really well at this point, and I know what's good for me, and I know what's not. And I don't need to make a decision. I don't need to do anything based on what people are telling me. I don't need to sit there and listen to what people think they know about me or how people assess me. I'm done listening because I feel for many of you, you're sick and tired of it. And once again, you might be in a profession where you are listening to a lot of people's problems and you have to sort out and make sense of their problems and find solutions to their problems. And it can be very taxing. It can feel like it just can feel it, it can feel very tiring, very draining. And so I'm sensing maybe some of you are, sequestering yourself, like trying to block other people out energetically because you need to take care of yourself. And I feel like you have already come into that sense of self-awareness that you need to take care of yourself, that I come first. Everybody else can wait. And I'm not going to do anything I'm not ready for. I'm not going to be coerced into making any decisions that aren't good for me. And I'm not going to take other people's emotional, it's almost like people taking an emotional dump on you and expect you to clean up the mess. You're not going to do that. You're going to put yourself first and you're going to put other people second. And there's nothing wrong with that. So what I have here is I do have the Tower. And I do have your energy. This is the Knight of Swords looking at this tower, looking at a situation where things cannot be rebuilt, looking at some type of a fantasy, type of a relationship, an attraction or a relationship where it was built on a very faulty foundation. It could potentially be like fatal attraction, or it could be like temptation, or it could be a situation where we try and try and try, but the other person is just completely wrong for us. We try, they try, both parties try. But at the end of the day, it's like we've got to move on. It's like beating a dead